Tube amplifier or preamplifier? This is a question that comes from Pritam in Oakville, Ontario, which I assume is Canada. Okay, and Pritam writes, I presently own a solid-state amplifier and a solid-state preamplifier, a Parasound JC5 and a Parasound P6, respectively. If I was to replace just one of them with a tube for the reasons of adding some warmth to the sound, which one would I go with? Or would you recommend to change both? Can you mix and match solid state with a tube in the same system? Absolutely. People do it all the time. And my quick answer to that is the preamp. Now, I'll tell you why. First off, vacuum tubes in power amps is not a great combo that I really support. Now, we make a vacuum tube power amplifier. Here's an input board. You can see the little, let's see, I don't want to muck up there. This is the technician's area. Who knows why they're sitting there. But you can see the little tube sockets, if you can see that, those little white things. And it's a great product, and I couldn't recommend it higher. It's one of the best we make. But the tubes on that amplifier are where they should be, on the input, not on the output. So if you can find a tube amplifier like that you're happy with, that has vacuum tubes where they belong, on the input, not the output, then yeah, that's a great way to go. I recommend a vacuum tube preamplifier, though, over the power amplifier. And I mean, if you can do that, go for both if you can, absolutely. But there's no harm in mixing and matching solid state. And generally, if you're going to do that, you want a solid state amplifier and then a vacuum tube preamplifier, because everything goes through the vacuum tube of the preamplifier. And for some reason, I have never quite figured out why, whatever goes through that preamplifier just sounds better if there's a vacuum tube in it. A good example, we make a product called the Direct Stream DAC, been out for 7 years, probably one of the best DACs in the world at any price. And that is a DSD-based DAC designed by our own Ted Smith. Wonderful piece of gear. It has a zero-loss volume control on its front panel that you can use, and I did for years. That amp, or that DAC went directly into the power amplifier and sounded great. I got convinced about 4 or 5 years ago by my old friend Arnie Nudell and the designer of this amplifier, Bascom King, BHK, that despite my aversion to having something extra in the signal path, if I were to place a vacuum tube preamplifier between that DAC and the power amplifier, that it would sound not only better, but it would change the whole nature of the system. And I rebelled against that for the longest time. Why? Because adding more stuff in the signal path never makes sense to me. But I finally got convinced to try it. I can be stubborn, and I did. And it was a life-changing event. That made all the difference in the world. I still don't understand why. But for many people, including me, we don't actually have to understand why. We just have to understand what's happening and then what we can do about it. So that's one of the reasons, that experience, all the years that I've done this, my God, it's been 50-something years, go with the preamp if you're only going to do one. If you have the funds to do both and the power amplifier has the vacuum tube on the input stage, go with that. So, okay, good luck with your system. Take it easy.